Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth, alongside Phil Duvall. Say hi, Phil.
Hi!
And this is coming to you on Tuesday, rather than the Monday that we've been doing it on the past couple weeks. Sort of what we've done. Uh, you all right? You
We
okay?
were preempted by the Oscars.
It's
We
true.
got
We were preempted by
we
the
got
Oscars.
bumped by our own show.
Not even like except on the West Coast. Like
No,
just
it's
preempted by
funny
the
because
Oscars.
we've talked a lot about I mean, we are those types of people who are like, I don't really care who wins the Oscars, but we have definitely let it consume a little bit of we this show has actually made us buy a little bit more into Oscar mania.
It's true.
We
That's
do it
true.
from this sort of like postmodern meta view of like we don't really care, but let's talk about it, and it's like, but it just enables us to continue living the charade.
Phil, why live when you can talk about and comment on living instead?
I'm going to talk to you through this phone as we have a conversation.
Nice. So,
We could do something where like,
faithful audience, you'll recall that on Mondays in the past few weeks we have been talking about what we're looking forward to in the weekend to come, and this is so weird. You've got to.
it works though.
That's great. You're terrifying.
Come on, man. This is actually happening right now. Come on.
I am a conscientious objector to what's going on right now.
All
So,
right. All right.
on past Mondays, we've been looking forward to the weekend to come and perhaps looking a little bit back in the weekend and week just happened. And so, even though it's Tuesday, that's what we're going to do today. And frankly, Phil, I had myself kind of a week. I think you're going to be very pleased with the week that I had.
Andy's been excited to tell me a story. Andy, what's going on, man?
So, this past weekend, oh, just to get new business out of the way. This
Please.
weekend, Jack the Giant Slayer is coming
Don't
out.
even know what it's called.
I will probably end up seeing it.
Jack and the Giant, not going to see that movie. That's what it's called.
Jack and the Giant Apathy. But
Not
I'm not
gonna-
all that excited about it.
No.
Willing to be pleasantly surprised, preparing for the worst.
You shouldn't see it. You shouldn't see it. I can't. My voice can't go any higher than that. That's how much you shouldn't see it. I'll be talking to dolphins soon.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Phil, you're not wrong. I'm just crazy. So
I haven't gone to the movies in so long, Andy.
fair. You're busy. We're all busy. Having said that, I've had myself a week. The week just was. Saw the new The Rock movie, Snitch. Quite an enjoyable movie.
I was the one
liked
who
it.
wanted to see that over you. I wanted to see that more than you.
And I am proportionally excited for you to see it because I think you really like it. There isn't actually that much action in. I mean, there's a ton of action, but I wouldn't call it an action movie. It really is almost more of a drama. And he does well. He really does.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a fine actor, my friend.
Agreed. But that's not my news.
Oh boy.
This past weekend,
Oh my.
there was a horror movie festival in
Oh wow.
my adopted hometown of Durham, North Carolina.
Oh boy.
For the first time in my life, I saw one of my favorite movies of all time on the big screen, Dawn of the Dead, the original
Nice.
Except No Substitutes, 1978 classic. It was amazing. People like packed house, lots of love, everybody cheering and laughing at the right parts. It was
Nice.
great. It was great. Full on loved it. I also saw at the same horror movie festival, John Dies at the End, which is a brand
Wow.
new.
How was that?
I really liked it. It wasn't Shaun of the Dead, but
Okay.
it might have been Attack the Block, which was a movie from a couple years ago that I absolutely loved.
Yeah. I absolutely liked Attack the Block. Man,
I am indeed
I gotta tell
liked.
you, I liked that movie. I
Fair enough.
just really liked it.
Fair enough. Phil,
Yeah.
that is not my news.
Stop it. That was the news.
No.
Andy, say more.
What, you ask, Philip Duvall, could supersede Dawn of the Dead on the big screen? And I mean, honestly, it is also like the 25th time I've seen this movie. So So I
I don't
mean,
know.
there's
No,
that.
but I'm shocked at this. I actually thought that was the news when you started telling it. I was like, this is not news, but that I was going to go along with it. But now you actually have news.
Phil, I have seen the Godfather movies.
Shut your face.
No, I have seen them.
That's crazy because guess what I have right here, literally next to me, right here. Are you ready for it? Do you know what it is? What is it? Before I pull it out, what is it?
Is it Godfather 3?
No, I own all the Godfather
Oh,
movies.
okay. Goodfellas? I don't know. Yes! Awesome!
I have Escape from New
Awesome!
York. In fact, I don't know how I'm going to watch Bird on a Wire because I got to watch this. And I got to watch Bird on a Wire before Wednesday. It's
Awesome.
crazy.
I love it. I love it. That is
I
amazing.
wasn't going to tell you till after I saw it because you were like, once I've seen Godfather 1 and 2 the right way, you still
No,
will
no,
not have
no,
seen
no. No,
Escape
no.
from New York,
No,
which
I'm
is a
so excited
ridiculous
for you.
comparison. Which is a ridiculous comparison, but nevertheless, can we just talk a little bit about Godfather 1 and 2? Can we just talk a little bit?
Here's the entirety of the conversation, right? They're two of the greatest movies of all time, no matter how you define it. Just
Here's
period.
how I want to define it because this is
Please.
why I care. Like I people who talk about the greatest movies of all time generally need to be punched. And the problem is that movies that are important, like movies that are important are very rarely fun in my mind. In my mind, whether that's true or not, it's how I feel.
That's that.
Like if someone's talking about a movie and they're like, it was devastating. It's like, shut up.
Right, fair.
I think what makes the Godfather movies so great is how entertaining they are. I actually think that is what makes them so great. That
Yes.
everything else is fine. But the fact that they are so entertaining, like when you look at the top 100 list AFI, for instance, por ejemplo, you will notice that like there are movies on there that are on there because they were special for a specific reason. Like they had to have a movie on there that represented Jimmy
Blank.
Cagney, so they put
Yes.
Yankee Doodle Dandy on there.
Yes.
Yankee
Yes.
Doodle Dandy is fine movie with Jimmy Cagney, but also very, very, very dated. And like, okay, it's a fine movie. That's fine.
Totally agree.
But it's a representative movie. Okay.
Yes.
Godfather 1 and 2 aren't representative of anything except just phenomenal filmmaking.
Yes.
It's just fun. Like it's just such a good story. It just also happens to be a lot of other things.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed.
Did you notice the difference? So no, the big knock on you is that you'd only ever seen it in chronological order before, which is called the Godfather Saga, which was one more money grab that Coppola tried to do. What was there? Was there something? Being familiar with the material but not being familiar with it in this order? Was there anything that came like that you noticed this time around or that came to mind?
I'll say this. With The Godfather Part 1, with The Godfather, no. I mean, no, not
Sure.
really. I mean, it had still been years since I'd seen it.
Because
period.
Godfather 1 doesn't mess with the timeline. It just
That's
is
right. And that's exactly right. Which is not, of course, at all to say that it was not a wonderful viewing experience. Of course, I'm not saying that. But in terms of things that are new, no, not really. The Godfather 2, and
completely different movie.
I mean, it's yes, it's a completely different movie, but at the same time, it's not like it's not like I wasn't aware of what they were doing. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, Godfather 2 is set up as sort of like a parallel structure with the young Vito Corleone and Michael Corleone in the years
just going
after.
back and forth.
Yes, in the years after the events of Godfather 1.
So in The Godfather,
it parallels their rise, sort of.
So in Godfather
it's not,
Saga, it shows young Vito Corleone, old Vito Corleone, young Michael Corleone, and then Godfather 2, the latest part of it so far.
Right.
But
right.
in the
and
original Godfather 2, it's like back and forth,
yes.
chronological.
Yes.
Confusion.
And even though it's not perfectly parallel because it's not in Godfather 2 you're not seeing the earliest part of Michael as the head of the family. But regardless, it's still clearly the parallel that they want to be making and that they are successful in making. And so it was really lovely to see that. it was really lovely to see that. And also, frankly, it, I mean, when you've got an 11-hour movie, 10, 11, 12-hour movie, frankly, by the end of it, as good as he is, you've kind of forgotten Robert De Niro. Like at that point,
Yeah.
you're like, good Lord, I have shaved 12 times since the
And I
beginning
think
of
the
this
other thing
movie.
is when you watch it the way you watched it originally, the problem, I mean, and you can always know the cultural context, but
Yeah.
when you realize that De Niro went in and played Vito Corleone after Marlon Brando had created this character.
Yes.
And so
No question.
it is De Niro channeling Brando and then
Yep.
youngering it. That's not a
Yes.
word, but it
Yes.
is now, people. I have the
Yeah.
power to create words. Um, it's like it's it kind of gives you a chance to realize what a bravura performance it is, and a well deserved Oscar.
Agreed. Agreed.
Al Pacino boned again.
I indeed. I want to I'll tell you what I actually the performance leaving aside the big 3, right? Brando, Pacino and De Niro, right? The performance that totally stuck out to
I know
me,
what you're gonna say.
I'm not sure you do.
Okay.
Is is Robert Duvall.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say John Cazale.
Uh,
Robert Duvall's performance is
is
perfect,
Yeah.
and I will go so far, and my brother will back me up on this.
Yeah.
His absence is really one of the things that unglues the third film.
I completely agree with you. I completely
Robert
agree with you.
Duvall's presence in the Godfather movies is so understated, and it's like the here's a real classy comparison. Okay,
Okay.
in Project Melway,
Oh boy.
we have discussed the Lethal Weapon series and how in the first Lethal Weapon movie it's all about Mel Gibson to people, but Danny Glover's performance grounds that movie. Likewise, in the Godfather films, Pacino, Brando, as you said, De Niro, but it's not, and it's not that any of those aren't amazing, and they're not really like. You don't see Pacino doing like the oh, ooh, ah. It was when he
That's
really
true.
was becoming a great actor.
Yeah.
But all of the well, not De Niro, but both Brando and Pacino and Sonny, but James Caan and Cazale, all of them bounce off of Tom Hagen. All of them bounce off of
Yes.
Robert Duvall's character, Tom
Yes.
Hagen. Tom
Yes.
Hagen is this sort of the consigliere, the one he's the one who's like the great counselor, the helper, the whisperer in the ear,
Yeah.
and his there's so much going on inside of that character.
Yeah. Yes. And it's such like there are so many ways and one of the great things about many of the characters in these movies is the performances are so subtle that they can kind of be whatever you as a viewer bring to them. And what
Yeah.
you can bring to the Tom Hagen character is, I mean, unless there's something I don't know about you, the viewpoint of the person who is not in the mob, in the mafia. Now, obviously, Hagen is, but even when it's not stated, and even when he's talked about as a true member of the family, he is still not Sicilian.
But he could never actually be the Don.
That's right. And so it creates this sort of disconnect and tension that frankly it made it really easy for me to watch sort of from his viewpoint because I'm not in the mob. I'm not Sicilian.
Right.
And so and there's like literally
Yeah.
we could not trust you more, and yet there's this ceiling. I don't want this to turn into a Godfather podcast completely because we can obviously do that at any time. But I want to finish talking about the movies by absolutely talking about Fredo. I want to talk about John Cazale's Fredo. I am a bit worried at how much I identified with the character.
That makes me want to call social services for you.
Just the idea that like because I feel like everyone has at least once in their life thought I don't know what to do, but I know it's not going to be good enough. You know?
Yeah.
Like and if you extrapolate that to this is the thing that a person feels more than any other emotion
Yeah.
or thought, that you got Fredo, and it's arguably the single line that people remember most about him. But when he's like, "I'm smart, I can do things. I'm smart." It broke my
Yeah.
heart. That
Yeah.
might have been the most
Fredo,
emotional
are
I
you trying
got
to tell
at
me that
any point.
Fredo broke your heart?
Exactly, exactly.
Wow. It was him. I
And
want
then
to
and then
say,
I kissed my television full on the mouth.
I want to say that every single movie John Cazale was in was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture.
Yes,
Every single movie.
every
Every
single
single.
movie.
Now, granted, he died very young. Nevertheless, that is amazing.
That yes,
Do you
indeed.
know do you know who he was married to when he died?
Meryl Streep,
I know. Can you believe it?
unbelievable.
Meryl
Uh,
Streep looked good last
Were they
night.
were they married or were they just
Married.
awesome?
I know. All right. So I pray that I get to see good movies this weekend. I just want to go to the movies. Oh, I want to go to the movies so bad this weekend.
Have you seen Warm Bodies yet?
No, I haven't gone to the movies. I haven't been in the movies since.
Phil, no, Phil, you're so excited. See Warm Bodies. That's what
No,
you're excited for this weekend.
I want to. The last movie I saw in the movie theater,
Yeah?
I don't even want to tell you what it was. I don't even
Was
want to tell you what it was.
was it The Hobbit?
It was Hotel Transylvania,
Oh, well,
which I
sure.
saw with my niece at a dollar movie theater for her birthday, to be fair.
Totally fair. That's totally fair.
But and then the time before that, I saw Django Unchained for the second time. But that was in
Hmm.
January. We're almost through February, and I've only been to the movie theater once. This is a disastrous month.
It, not, yeah, but if you're going to have a disastrous month in terms of
Might
how
as well be
much you're going
February.
to the theater,
Fair
make
enough.
it February.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
I
I mean?
couldn't. I would have liked to have knocked out Life of Pi and Amore and some other stuff, and Warm Bodies and Snitch and I mean stuff like that. So
Sure. Amore can be seen on the small screen because that will compress the
Misery,
yes, the
complete and utter
devastation.
disaster of that film. All right,
Um,
can't wait.
yeah, but see Warm Bodies, you're excited for that. I'm excited for um, I don't know what I'm not excited for anything this weekend.
You don't need to
I'll
be now.
I'll
You've
think
done
of
it all.
something.
You've done it
What'd you
all.
say?
You've done it all.
Yeah, top of the world, Ma.
Call it a day. All right, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth. That's Phil Duvall. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.
Toodaloo.